Hello, everyone. This is The Lock, and this is the Skeptic Wars podcast, where I talk about some of my favorite stories of the week that I've shared on the Skeptic Wars blog. Alright, first story is Harvard book bound in human flesh isn't actually human flesh. There was this story that was going around the internet about a book that was at Harvard that was apparently bound in human flesh, and it turns out it wasn't bound in human flesh. I believe it was hold on. It was bound in, I believe, sheepskin, which is actually, yeah, it was bound in sheepskin, and that's actually really good material to probably bound a book in. So, it's made out of flesh. It's just not made out of flesh from another human being. So, unless you're like a member of PETA and touching any type of dead animal skin gives you the creeps, it's not, it's not creepy. Alright, so, next one is court grants father right to vaccinate his children. Now, this is about a father who wanted to vaccinate his children, and his, I guess, ex-wife now didn't want um, her didn't want their children to be vaccinated. Apparently, the ex-wife is an anti-vaxxer and one of those people who think that vaccines can cause autism and all sorts of other health problems. But the court decided, you know what, this is, your fears are irrelevant. There is absolutely no proof that vaccines hurt people. And so the court, and this is in Australia, by the way, where there's been a huge pro-vaccination campaign to offset the huge anti-vaccination campaign being given by the Australian Anti-Vaccination Skeptics Network, or more commonly known as the Australian Vaccination Skeptics Network. I call it the Anti-Vaccination Skeptics Network because, that's a little bit more accurate. But, basically, this guy is allowed to vaccinate his children, and his children are actually pretty old. One's 14, the other one's 12, so, good to see the courts are finally doing something, or doing the right thing, and allowing this guy to vaccinate his kids, which I think should be which I think they should have mandatory vaccinations, and because unless you have a medical reason not to vaccinate your kids, I mean a legitimate medical reason, not just some paranoid fears, you should have to vaccinate your kids. Okay? No voluntary thing, just vaccinate them, and if vaccination by force, then that's what it's got to be. Alright, no proof Earl Grey can fight heart disease. Alright, this is about Earl Grey tea that apparently some people have been claiming that Earl Grey can fight heart disease. And while, tea is probably better for you than, I don't know, Coca-Cola, or definitely better than, say, Red Bull, although it can't wake you up like Red Bull. Apparently, research into Earl Grey, the claims about it, fighting heart disease, it can't do it, and basically, if, there's nothing wrong with Earl Grey tea. I mean, if you want to drink it, that's fine. tea myself, and if I wanted to drink it, I would. I mean, it's probably a lot better for you than some sodas or energy drinks, but then again, it's not going to improve your health. I mean, unless improving your health comes in the form of you drinking this over um something that is actually going to be bad for your health. So yeah, so there's just no proof that Earl Grey can help you. Alright, Star Trek actress lends her voice, rather, to film promoting idea that sun revolves around Earth. Now, this is about actress Kate Mulgrew, who, if you're a nerd like me, you already know she played Captain Catherine Janeway on Star Trek Voyager, and she was, as it turns out, she was tricked into lending her voice to a film called The Principal, which is apparently being created, or has been created, by a ultra-conservative and anti-Semitic person by the name of Robert Singenius. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Who maintains a blog called Galileo Was Wrong, and he apparently believes that the sun revolves around the Earth, which has been disproven for the last 400 years. And well, he's not the smartest guy in the world. He's very anti-Semitic. He's a Holocaust denier, which could mean he actually believes the Holocaust didn't happen, or he could just be claiming that the Holocaust didn't happen as a way to justify his own anti-Semitic beliefs, and might not actually believe that the Holocaust didn't happen, which is typical with Holocaust deniers. But this guy definitely believes that the sun revolves around the Earth, and he apparently tricked Miss Mulgrew into or someone tricked Miss Mulgrew into lending her voice to this film, and so I would recommend not seeing it. Okay, just don't watch it unless maybe just to have giggles or something like that, but I'm definitely not going to watch it. I mean, I don't watch pseudoscientific documentaries unless there's an absolute reason for me to do so, and I'm definitely not. And I recommend that you don't watch it, just to simply say, hey, you know what, we're not tolerating this type of stuff anymore. We're not going to watch this pseudoscientific films anymore. But, and you think that other than maybe some backwards people, that no one would believe this anymore. No one would believe that the sun rotates around the Earth. But apparently there are people in educated places like here who believe that the sun still revolves around the Earth. I've got no idea why people still believe it, but maybe they have to actually go into space to see it, but even then that might not convince some certain people that are really, really stupid. But who cares? Alright, this one, beware of Flight 370 scams. Now, like with any type of tragedy that goes around, there's always going to be some type of scam that goes around. And apparently, with this one, if you see some kind of ad or something that says video of Malaysia MH370 plane found in Bermuda Triangle, passengers alive, or missing plane found, or something like that, don't click on it. This is apparently some type of thing that will. What it does is that go to a thing that says update your video player, and if you agree, you'll end up downloading a ton of malware, which will allow someone to attack your computer and take over your computer. So basically, actually, anytime you see something that says update your video player, don't click on it. That's just basically an invitation to get your computer taken over. So just use common sense when you're seeing stuff like that. If you see an ad that tells you to update your video player, basically click off of that page. Basically, click the X button and click off the page. Don't do it, which I never do. All right, this one, homeopath is bunk, study says. Now this basically is a study by the Australian National Health and Medical Research Council says that what everyone knows is that homeopathic medicine is totally BS. This is probably what the 1000th study that says that homeopathic medicine is nothing more than just water and sugar pills. I mean, look, skeptics, real doctors, and have known for years that homeopathic medicine does not work. It is pure bunk. And basically, there's absolutely no reason to use homeopathic medicine. If you use homeopathic medicine, it's not going to work. It's just going to be a placebo effect, which you think it's going to work, and the reality is it's just complete and total BS. Alright, finally, anti-gay campaign crumbles for cracker moms. Apparently, the quote family values group, which is actually more of a hate group called 1 Million Moms, lashed out at Nabisco for portraying same-sex marriage in a positive light. And Nabisco, it doubled down. It basically said, and the 1 Million Moms strategy backfired, and as it's been showing for the past several years, that such campaigns have been backfiring. And 1 Million Moms is an offshoot of the notorious anti-gay hate group American Family Association, which is basically led by Brian Fisher, which is sort of like a light version of Fred Phelps. And basically, what these anti-gay groups are finding out quickly, like with Nabisco and like with Disney and J.C. Penney's and other businesses, is that they can try to make these boycotts. They can try to do these boycotts against companies that portray same-sex relationships in positive lights. But what ends up happening is that it ends up backfiring on them, and people either ignore them. And they just suddenly they quickly find, and these anti-gay groups, they quickly find out that nobody's listening to them anymore. That we want to buy these people's products, we're going to buy them from them, and we're not going to listen to a bunch of homophobes. So, maybe it's time that the homophobic groups give up. I would say, maybe it's time that these homophobic groups give up. Well, that's it for this week's podcast. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll be around next week for the next podcast. So, until then, see ya.